That's strange. The battery light isn't going off. I wonder what the problem is. Maybe it will go off after driving for a while. Or I should have it checked out immediately. Not so sure. I'll release the parking brake. Let's see. Oh no. The parking brake light went off, but the battery light remains. Hmm. This is very strange. It's also a red light. I think I need to have it checked. Hello everyone. Welcome to another informative video. Today we'll be talking about the instrument cluster. It's a very important part of a car which unfortunately gets ignored or overlooked sometimes. Its purpose is to convey vital information to the driver, primarily in order to ensure safe and reliable operation of the vehicle. It's a test to ensure that the relevant lights are operational, that is, the bulbs are not burnt out. Whenever the ignition is turned to the on position, all the lights should come on provided the corresponding feature is available on the card. Afterwards, depending on the feature, the lights will go off if certain conditions are met, usually if the connector system is without any fault. Essentially, the lights light up when faults or an abnormal condition is detected. As one drives, it is mandatory to glance at the instrument cluster periodically to ensure that there are no warning lights on. Doing this will ensure that any abnormalities get detected quickly and appropriate actions are taken. Today we'll be discussing the battery or alternator warning light. The light is obviously red and it has positive and negative terminals, so it can be mistaken. Whenever this light remains on while the engine is running, it indicates that there is an issue with the charging system or electrical system on the vehicle. The battery light is red, and red means stop. There are so many components that run off electricity on a vehicle, from engine control units to various models, fuel pumps, headlights, fans, electronic sensors, and so on. If a battery dies out, all these components will cease operation and essentially the vehicle will come to a halt and possibly leave you stranded. I don't think there's anybody out there that would like to be stranded along the road. So let's dive right in and see why this battery light is on. As I was about going out, the battery light stayed on. Hope you got the right choice. I hope you made the right choice and chose that it should be checked out immediately. So now let's see what the issue is. Some of you probably would have seen the issue already. You can see some shiny pulleys down there. Obviously, there's a missing belt on the alternator. So that's likely, or that's definitely the cause of the battery light staying on. So we need to get the belt replaced. So let's try to figure out how the whole system works concerning the charging system. Obviously, our alternator is right here. That needs to be spinning to charge the battery. We can see, not sure if you can see this, we can see two pulleys down there. There's a big one, also empty. That is the crankshaft pulley. That's where all the power comes from. And then looking down here, we can also see another pulley. Yeah, I think I can have a better shot from here. So that's also a vacant pulley. That turns out to be the water pump on this vehicle. And we can see a belt on there that goes to the power steering system. So that implies that if the alternator drive belt goes out, the water pump would also be rendered inoperative. So if we kept on driving without getting the belt replaced, we will run the risk of also overheating the engine. So if we're not sure of how the belt should be routed, we can consult the owner's manual to see how the whole thing is set up. So here we have the owner's manual open. We have two diagrams here, this and this. Since we have a 7AFE engine, we'll look at the diagram on top. That's this one. So right here we have pompe d'assistance de direction. My owner's manual is now French, so I'll try my best to translate for you. Pompe d'assistance de direction, that is the power steering pulley. Then this pump à eau, that's the water pump. Then this is our alternator right here. This is the crankshaft. This is a tensioner. And this is compressor de climatiseur. That's the air conditioning compressor. So as we can see, the belt running the alternator and the water pump is what connects the whole system to the power steering pump. So that implies that if this belt goes out, we'll also lose our power assist to our steering box, and also our water pump will be rendered inoperative. So that's a very, very important belt we have there. I mean the alternator drive belt. And that's also why the light is red. The battery light stayed on. So whenever you have a red light come on your instrument cluster that way, I strongly advise that you pull over immediately so that you don't cause damage, serious irreversible damage to the vehicle, or harm yourself in the process. So right now we can obviously see that we need to get the alternator drive belt replaced. So I'll set you on time lapse now and let's get that replaced together. So once you have the belt all around the pulleys, the tensioner is right below the generator. That bolt's right there. Don't touch it right now. Yeah, this particular bolt, just tighten using a 12mm, as I'm doing here. So as you tighten it, the belt would get tighter. So once the belt is tight enough, going to be checking the tension by moving it here. You just want slight deflection. You don't want the belt to be too tight, because if it gets too tight, you'll be putting a lot of stress on the bearings on the pulleys, and that could cause them to fail prematurely. So you just want about a ½ inch deflection, like I'm moving here. So once that's done, you tighten the tensioner on the side and then tighten this upper bolt to lock it in place. So basically, replacement of the belt isn't that much of a hassle. So with the tensioner tightened, like I said, don't forget to tighten this upper bolt and nut so that you lock the whole generator in place. If you forget to do that, you could actually lose the bolt and your alternator could come loose. Let's get it snug. Afterwards, reinstall the condenser fan, now forgetting the electrical plug. Once that's done, the belt is fully replaced. Took me a total of about 25 minutes, so it's not too much of a hassle. So with the belt replaced, let's see if the battery light goes off once the vehicle is started. Yes, it went off. So that definitely was the cause of the battery light staying on. So generally, the battery light indicates staying on while the engine is running indicates a problem with the charging system on the car. It's not always caused by a broken alternator drive belt. It could also come on as a result of a failed alternator or a problem with the battery itself. So to prevent this from happening, obviously, you need to periodically check your drive belts to be sure that they are still in very good condition so that they don't just fail suddenly. In addition to that, you can have your battery tested at an auto parts store that has the right equipment for it, or you could use a battery tester like I have here. I got it on Amazon for about $30. Pretty handy and simple to use. Let me show you how to use it right now. So I'm going to take this cover off. That's the positive terminal. So I'm connecting the leads of the tester. Connect the black to the negative and then the red to the positive. The device lights up like I can see here. Focus. So it's showing that my battery voltage is around 12.73. Next, we go to check. Press the enter button. And then it asks whether the battery is on the vehicle or out of the vehicle. Obviously, this battery is in the vehicle, so I'm going to select in vehicle. Yes, I want to test the battery. So it's asking me to check surface charge, turn lights on, and blah blah blah. After doing all that, press enter. So what type of battery? This is a regular flooded battery. You can select your battery type as the case may be. I'm choosing the CCA standard. So right on my battery, focus right here, we can see a CCA rating of 680. So I'm going to put that in. So right now CCA, going to say enter. Oh, it's already on 680, that's good. So also press enter. So right now there's a device is carrying out test. Unfortunately, it's asking me to replace the battery because my state of health is indicating 58%. That's 395 amps. So I have a dying battery. So with this, you can detect issues very early with your battery before the battery leaves you stranded. So I guess I need to start saving up for a new battery. The vehicle still starts fine, but obviously you can see that the battery is dying. So with the tester, you can also test your starter. You can have your alternator tester, whether it's giving out the right voltage and charging your battery appropriately. So with this tool, you can run periodic tests on your electrical system to ensure that everything is working appropriately. So to wrap up the video, if you're driving and suddenly you have a battery light come on, my strong advice to anyone is to just pull over, because it's a red light and red means stop. Don't try to ignore the light and keep on driving, because eventually your car battery is likely to go dead and you may end up having to also get a replacement battery, and that would be more money that could have been avoided. In addition to that, on this car, for example, the battery light came on as a result of a missing alternator drive belt, and it turned out the same belt drives the water pump. So if you decide to ignore the battery light in this case, you may also get the engine overheated and severe damage done. So I hope I've been able to help someone out. Feel free to leave your comments below. What do you think? Has this ever happened to you? Has it happened to someone you know? Let me know in the comments below. So don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe for more informative videos like this. In the next video, we're going to be covering the engine oil light. So stay tuned for that. Have a nice day.